There it is. There you go. I hope people can hear it this time.
It just puts me in the mood every time.
It does.
Oh, man.
Think you fade it out?
I feel like you could have someone at the end of the table with like a mini piano just jamming on it.
Oh, let's bring live music into this. I didn't even think about that.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, Josh, let's talk about some things that caught our eye this week in tech startups. I want to talk about our last episode a little bit, but before we do that, I want to just hear a teaser for what's on your list.
Oh, man. How do I tease this? AI combined with human anatomy.
Oh, gosh. I'm so uncomfortable. I hope we run out of time before we get to yours. My goodness.
It's gonna be good though. No, it'll be a mind blowing thing. I mean, like, whoa, that's pretty crazy.
Okay,
so
sounds good. All right. Well, mine is less disturbing, but it's going to be a way that you could rapidly prototype.
It's not disturbing.
I
phrased it disturbing.
Okay.
You know how I roll.
Okay. Yeah. So mine's going to be a way for you to rapidly prototype using AI.
Okay. Now
I think you're going to like.
Yeah,
it.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah. In fact, I brought a diaper for you. It's in the other room because
I need it.
I told you you're going to be so excited you're going to pee your pants. So
I can't wait. Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to call back to our last episode really quick. So any thoughts, revelations since we talked about custom GPTs and Humane?
I think as we exited that podcast, it was like at the tail end, you were like, oh, it has ChatGPT. And I don't know how I didn't like make that correlation. And I was like, oh, that might be useful. So I would use it. And, Humane, if you're watching this, send us, both one for us to test out. It does look pretty cool. So I would try it. I am skeptical still, but I would try it. There's my summary.
Yeah.
So,
Evan, did you change your heart at all?
No, I did not. I still don't believe I will be getting that in any capacity.
Okay. Well,
but I do think it's cool. I still think that it can lead to some really cool ideas and innovations, but as it stands right now, I don't see myself using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a stepping stone. That's my opinion.
Yeah. The internet has been hating on it.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys are in the majority there.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I found this that I think is the alternative that you wanted.
Well, he
Josh.
looks happy.
He does look happy. He's obviously a business person doing business stuff. So this Plaud note, this is actually a little bit older. I think in August they did a raise, but this is an always on, not always on. I think you press a button to trigger it, but it is a ChatGPT powered recorder, transcriber. So you can just have it recording whatever you're talking about, and it's automatically summarizing it. They show examples of it, being in a lecture at the university, and then it's recording for you and summarizing. You can get it later. It shows having that on your phone and then recording calls for you and summarizing that, so you don't have to take notes during the call. So I think this might be something more of what you were looking for, because you wanted something that could just kind of listen and transcribe.
Does it do like scheduling stuff? And like the biggest thing for me is action items. Like in a conversation, be like, here's your action items.
Yeah. I mean, probably good. I imagine
that'd be sweet. But this is transcription.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah. Which the more I think about it, the less impressed I am by it, because it's just recording.
Yes.
You could have any recording device now recording, and then later on send it to whatever your transcriber of choice is.
Exactly.
So it doesn't need to be that smart, because I guess I wouldn't need like real-time summary of it. I'm in it. I'm experiencing it. I don't need the real-time
I just need
summary.
like end-of-day summary or whatever.
Yeah. But this is called Plaud, and they did an Indiegogo campaign. I think they did one other fundraising campaign. They raised over $1 million, maybe 1.6 million from 7,000 backers. So it seems like people want it. But
nice.
I find it tough to back any kind of AI thing right now with how fast everything's changing.
It's a little bit over the top, all the buzz around it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would wait.
But I do think it's different than, say, when we were talking about NFTs or like the buzz around all these other things. It's AI is, I feel, a different. There's still this huge amount of buzz that's going to come down to a peak of reality, right? A leveling of reality. But I think that it's a little bit different than other trends we've seen.
Yeah.
So
I think so. Last thing I'll say about our last episode, we got a few comments on the video, and everyone sided with me. So
I noticed, but you said the internet sided with us, Evan and I.
Yeah.
So you guys are in the minority, you know. So, but I did appreciate the first comment. They called us rad. This guy called us rad. Sean Bradley. Shout out to Sean Bradley. I appreciate you calling us rad.
Yeah, and if in future videos you could clarify who's most rad, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, you could put it on a scale. I mean, you could be like out of 10. You know, who's the raddest?
Yeah, but that does mean a lot. So if anyone has comments or thoughts, please do put those in. Below the video, wherever you're seeing it. So thank you for that. Now let's get into what caught our eye this week. Do you want to go first with yours? Because yours sounds juicy.
Yeah, I can do that. I gave you a link in the send it over, dude. Let me know if you need me to send it again.
Can you Slack it to me?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Because I'm very.
This is gonna be a really interesting one. I think you're gonna. I'd appreciate your feedback on it. This is not, interestingly enough, this is not like something that just came out. This little clip here. So I thought it was really, really interesting and fascinating. And a word from our sponsors that are not really our sponsors.
Oh no! I should have opened this up on my other browser.
All right, so if you can go fast forward maybe 10, 20 seconds. Yeah, where there's that scan. So what they're doing is they're taking a 3-dimensional MRI scan, and they're the hot spot. So the pink is the above average activity in your brain, and then the blue is the below average activity in your brain. And what they're doing is they're like literally putting stimuli in front of you, and they trained an AI model against this live as you are reading. So they first had you read like as you're reading a news article or whatever. So then they had the original text. They uploaded that with this data, and then they then it trained it enough to where it could actually type your thoughts.
Wow. That's impressive. Do they have a name for this? Is this all just research?
This is just research right now, but they're talking about how do they monetize it and bring it to the next steps.
Yeah. So what they're using, what functional MRI? You said they're scanning? How are they?
So they're doing a live scan, MRI scan, and they're training the model against just reading. And then what they did after they had them read, I don't know, 10 pages each. It was like 16 participants. They then put a movie clip in front of them and recorded their brain. And they had ChatGPT, GPT-4, literally tell what their thoughts were. And then they showed it to the participants, and they like gasped at like how accurate.
Like what kind of thoughts were they having?
They were just like, things that we all think about, like things like, man, this is dumb, or they drift off and they think about other things. So it's very, very, very impressive to look at this, to go, oh my gosh. Like I showed this to my wife, and she's like, this is terrifying. She's like, this is absolutely terrifying.
It is terrifying. But this makes sense to me. My question is, how are they going to get rid of the MRI machine? So did they talk about that?
No, they didn't talk about that yet. They talked about potentially, there was some people talking about Neuralink, how Neuralink's going to do the similar thing, where it's said it's going to be inside your brain, right? Instead of using an MRI machine. They try to do it non-intrusively just for research.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah. Is it scary, or is it
I don't think it's scary. So I am excited about a future where we could communicate in some way like this. And I'd love it for the accessibility purposes for people who've had injuries and not able to verbalize what they're thinking. So I think there's a lot of power in it. I'm not a big fan of the implants unless you have no other alternative.
Yeah.
But I think I saw something. I'm going to have to do some research for you for next time. There's something where they're able to keep on the outside of the head, and they're just using like.
Is it like a helmet or something?
Yeah, basically, they're just like little pads that are attaching to the outside of your head. So that I would be more on board with that. But I just don't know. I think it's awesome though that they're understanding the brain well enough to translate it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So why would you be scared of an implant?
I just don't. don't want an
You
operation.
don't- would you want to do it, Evan?
The idea of this freaks me out as well.
Does it
like
really?
Your wife. Yeah, it's I'm not super well versed in AI in general. I don't use it nearly as much as you guys, but to know that, I don't know, within 6 months they're using it for, I mean, 6 months since it blew up. It's been
Yes.
a while, obviously, for a really long time, but like that it's already starting to read people's thoughts, that's
So you probably would not be a
mind
fan
blowing for me.
of getting like an implant.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's the same thing with the other tool that we see. It's like, why do I need it for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What Bryce mentioned, I didn't even think about what Bryce mentioned about people with injuries who can't communicate.
That'd be big.
That's really cool thought to think that they can, communicate like
Yeah.
with everybody else with no problem. You know,
Yes.
that's a really cool idea.
Did they say anything about like the rate of thoughts? Like were the thoughts faster than what someone would speak, or was it going at the same?
They did it in real time to where when they had a thought, they could actually see it translated. And so it was really interesting to where when they put up some stimuli, they could correlate what they thought about that image.
Interesting.
So, yeah, of course you can't live in an MRI machine, but
So I wonder, I have to assume that then it's monitoring the like vocal areas of your brain, and then that internal monologue that you have,
yeah,
it's tapping into that.
Yes.
So as you are,
that's exactly right.
I forget what that pathway is called, but anyways, they are just tapping into that. So it's probably at the same rate, same words per minute.
Yes,
As
that's right.
spoken word.
That's right. They were saying like, we all have that. Well, I don't know. Do we all have that internal voice? I've
No,
got that. No,
I
we
do.
don't. I do too.
Yeah, but not everyone does.
Not everyone does.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm intrigued with this whole brain thing. We should bring on Kayla's husband. The brain guy.
Yeah.
So
The brain guy. Neurologist?
The neurologist. But no, it's fascinating. It is. They were saying that it is that internal voice as you're like talking in your head. It would just articulate everything you're thinking. So I thought where this would go is like, what the question this leads to is so you're afraid of it, Evan. You're I don't know if you're afraid of it, but you wouldn't go as far as like a brain implant, right?
Yeah, I don't see this practically playing out for a long time, except for people who have no other alternative.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is like 5-year horizon. I would think the mass adoption would be many decades off.
Yes.
And then you question, what's the purpose? What are you using it for?
Yes.
Right? If it's only communicating at this as fast as I can talk and I can talk, shouldn't I just talk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. That's true.
But what's your question?
So the question is like, where do you draw the line? Like when does AI become scary, and when should AI be used, and when shouldn't it?
That's a good question. I think there's a bunch of people trying to answer that right now, right?
Yeah.
When is it for the greater good? When's in that? I don't know. I'd love to dive into that in another episode. Just look at what the standards are and how they're being set. Because what they're doing now with regulations are just horribly missing the mark.
Yes.
No one really knows. And I don't like that everyone's either, peril or prosperity. Like there's two extremes.
Yes.
It's going to solve all the world's problems or end the world.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's not like a middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But I also believe people should just kind of choose.
Yeah.
And I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think so too. Okay. So then I've got a little bit of a couple 4 points that Bill Gates just said about the future of AI, and I want you guys' thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So, all right. He said, this is a futurist talking. You won't bother with software or operating systems anymore. Basically, it says, do you use Windows, Mac, or Linux, or iOS, or Android? Today, these seems like meaningful choices, but 5 years from now, none of it will matter.
Yeah.
Accurate? What do you think?
5-year horizon? No.
You don't think it's a 5-year horizon?
No.
But how fast AI is developing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what part of the population he's talking to when he says you won't care about these things.
Well, the example that he gives is If you want to create a document, you might open Microsoft Word or Google Docs, but 5 years from now, you won't do any of that.
Mm-mm.
What does that mean?
Right?
I don't know what does he mean it'll just be generated based on thought? Think about it, like the video we just watched, and we
Yeah.
upload it to the cloud.
Or
with our
talking, or
brain?
I think he means like a lot of it probably is talking to it. I'd have to imagine. Like you're having a conversation with it.
When you said that comment, the first thing that came to my head is like chat GPT or whatever AI is the only operating system left.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's taken over everything, and everything else is out of business. That's what I thought he was talking about. But
yeah.
I want clarification on what he means by that.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. I think what he's saying is that you don't have to have all these discrete applications in order to create stuff, but you're still you'll need terminology. You'll need nouns to describe these things. So it might not be word specifically, but if you have like a VR headset on and you're using your thoughts or you're using voice to create something, like you still will have a term for it. You might say create a document, create whatever, but you're still, I don't know. I don't.
It's a hard future.
I think it's an incomplete thought what he has there. I want to see more context around it.
Yeah. Well, the second thing he says is your agent will be a frequent voice in your ear. So it just basically says that people interacting with their agents, including apps, glasses, pendants, pins, even holograms, all these possibilities. But I think the first breakthrough in human agent interaction will be earbuds. If your agent needs to check in with you, it will speak with you and show up on your phone. So it's basically going back to that kind of brain thing. It's just you're going to have an agent in your ear constantly.
Yeah.
You think so? Yeah.
I don't know if it's in your ear, but I do think people over the next 5 years, 10 years will choose what agent they want and where they want it around them, and probably in different form factors for different time of day or wherever they're at. Sometimes they want it in their ear or out around them or in front of them. So yeah, that one doesn't seem like that bold of a claim.
Yeah, it seems pretty reasonable.
When you say agent, are you talking like Siri?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like Siri or Alexa.
Okay.
Right now, Alexa and like those are pretty dumb technologies. I feel like.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to have to be powered by AI.
I think I use Siri to start a timer.
Seriously, that's
it.
Most of America uses it. I feel like,
I'm cooking. It's like
set a timer.
Set a timer for 10 minutes, please.
Yeah.
And that's like the only time.
Yes.
I use Siri.
Timers, alarms. Do you use it for more than that?
No,
Music?
But what's so frustrating for me with ChatGPT and these old legacy agents is that what ChatGPT is now for people is what assistants should have been years ago. Like they launched Siri, they launched Google Assistant, Bixby, whatever, all these others that are out there. And then they didn't iterate or develop them further. Like, why did they not make them more conversational and more like what ChatGPT is today?
Yeah.
So that's what's frustrating for me, as I feel like ChatGPT should have been here a little while ago, this type of conversational experience.
You know what's so weird? I've thought about this is what you're just saying is with Google. Do you guys remember in the news, but this is before ChatGPT, before Bard, this Google engineer came out and it was like paranoid that this AI chatbot had become sentient at Google. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting here, I think in that moment before ChatGPT, everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Like he's crazy. And it's like, now you're like, oh, maybe he's onto something, you know?
Well, I have thoughts on that. So if you want to sell a product, you want to make it seem like it's going to change the world, good or bad. This fear mongering with AI moves a lot of units because it just gets attention on it. If you think it's coming for you, it's the end of days, you're going to be paying attention to it.
You think it's a marketing ploy?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it makes your product seem more important. If you're OpenAI and you're testifying in front of Congress about the safety of the product or how it could change the world, it's like, wow, everyone's paying it. This must matter. I need to pay attention to it.
He's got a backpack too. You see that Sam Altman with a? That's what I heard. Is that not true?
What, the Sam Altman backpack?
Yeah, look it up. Sam Altman backpack. See. Tell me what it says.
He has a nuclear backpack?
It has basically codes. Like there's a button essentially he pushes that nukes ChatGPT.
This is absurd. Sam,
You didn't hear this?
Sam Altman's nuclear backpack holds the code to save the world from AI. Sam Altman has been captured carrying a blue-colored backpack that holds the power to shut down ChatGPT in case of an apocalypse.
I'm telling you, man.
See, that's marketing fear-mongering, right? Like, what is that a glorified way of saying, like, oh, we're going to turn off our, EC2 instances on
I have
AWS?
no idea what he would do. What would happen?
That's so ridiculous.
I'm surprised you didn't hear about this. Yeah, this blue backpack, he travels everywhere with it.
I did hear about his signature blue backpack, but I didn't know.
Yeah, man. It's got the nuke codes for ChatGPT in it.
Why does it have to be in his backpack? Couldn't he have it on a device or something?
ChatGPT might take over the device, man. You don't know.
This is wild.
Isn't that wild? It's like super futuristic. It's crazy.
All right. Okay, Josh, we need to come up with something like this for ourselves.
All right, there's two more that we'll go through with Bill Gates, what he said about the future, and then I'll turn it over to you. You've got some thoughts. I know we're up against time. The next two things he says: the agent will be involved in your personal lives. It says, just as a human assistant might do today, 5 years, agents will remind you when a friend's about to have a birthday, come up with suggestions about what they might like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not too far fetched. Do you have you guys used it personally, like to do stuff like that, or not really?
The new version, no. Like if you look at AI powered agents, no. Yeah. But certainly use legacy agents like Siri's telling you when people's birthdays are and all that. So
it's not unusual. Yeah. Yeah. The last thing he said was, it might even help you solve personal problems. The agent would become your therapist. This is what it's telling you. So, which some people get a little creeped out by this because there's a whole other episode we could have on the controversial things that have happened with AI and AI gone crazy and rogue. But yeah, that's not unreasonable to see it help you solve personal problems. Therapist is a little weird. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah. Maybe it's not weird. I mean, it's a lot of therapy is just thinking out loud,
talking to someone,
and then having it echoed back to you and walking you off the ledge. But
I think you need a human interaction though with something as personal as therapy. I think it would take, out of all the things that were said, I feel like that one would take
it'd be a little tougher,
a bit to catch on. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Did you see the robots that connected up to ChatGPT? Did you see that? Oh man, yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, there's a robot. We'll have to look at that sometime.
Yeah.
So,
last thought before we switch over: 30 to 50% of people do not have an internal monologue. So potentially half the population could not use the technology you showed.
I don't even know what that would be like because
what does that mean?
Yeah,
like you don't. Like internal, when you say internal monologue, you just think like that's yourself talking to like in your voice. It's not like
in your
some
head.
other.
Yeah. Do you have that, Evan? In like a
I feel like I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep. Agreed. That's okay. We're all 3 for 3 here with an internal monologue.
I've heard that though, and it's hard to fathom.
I feel like someone made it up. That people don't.
Well, it's similar to the like people don't see colors the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like my red is different from your red.
Oh, that's kind of weird to think about too.
Yeah.
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 That's something that's just kind of unfathomable for me. It's
like, that's weird.
Okay, maybe that's just a fact of.
Well, I guess that makes more sense reality. Because like your kid is colorblind, right? And so it's like that. Yeah. So that makes more sense.
Yeah. So he definitely sees things differently than other people do. But yeah, half of people potentially don't have an internal monologue. So, but yeah, we're running short on time, and I want to get to this because it's very topical. It was new this week. But Josh, did you hear about TLDRAW.com?
No.
Okay, so TLDRAW.com, it just looks like an innocent little whiteboarding tool, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, they added a new feature this week that you can sketch out anything and it will turn it into a user interface for you with real code. So I can do a live demo, and then we are short on time, so I'll show you videos of what some other people have done. But you can just start sketching something out like this. Let's just do something really simple. Let's just say we want to do like a sign up page. So we're going to boom, boom. We're going to say name and email, whatever. And then you're going to do a button. Oh, where'd I go?
It says at the bottom, your OpenAI key, risky but cool.
Yeah, I did put mine in there. So you got to be careful. I'm not going to show that to people. But you can take something like this, highlight it, and click Make Real. Give it a moment. I haven't tested this particular thing out, but it will create a user interface for you using Tailwind CSS. Boom.
Holy crap.
Yep. And you can copy it to code, drop it into Figma if you want, build it out a little bit more.
What do you mean copy it to code?
So this, if you click this, it actually turns into like HTML code for you if you're making a website. So you can then tweak it to your heart's desire if you want to.
Is it just HTML and CSS?
Yeah, I think it also will add some JavaScript, and you can do full state machines, and I'll show you that. But one of the things that I did, I was messing around with, like, you want to make an Airbnb clone. So you can, in this case, I just copied a couple elements from Airbnb, just images.
Yeah.
And I added notes to tell the AI what to do.
It helps it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep. And then you can even give it feedback and it'll keep changing, but then it generated this. And it will, these are interactive elements too. So I could tell it how many or like what options to be there. And yeah, and it's fully responsive to,
That is wild.
Yep. So you can take anything that you see online, like any other interface that you see out there, and then you could just take a screenshot of it and it can recreate it for you if you wanted to.
What were your comments down there? I want to kind of see it. So you said it's a vacation rental app. This search bar allows you to search results show up here. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited to use this with like clients who have an idea for an app and all they can do is kind of sketch it out. Like I used to use Marvel Pop and some other things to, just let people draw however they can and then take a picture of it and turn it into a clickable prototype. But now like someone can just illustrate here and then
it can be horrible
real.
And it makes it, wow.
Yeah.
And it knew from the context of you entering all this stuff in that sign up was a button.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Can you upload someone's just hand drawings into this thing? Have you tried that?
You can upload anything you want. So really behind the scenes, it's using ChatGPT's Vision 4 or ChatGPT 4 Vision. So in this case, they did a state diagram and they added a bunch of notes and you see this?
I see it.
See all that?
Wow. There's like JavaScript and everything in there.
Yep.
So at the top,
oh my gosh. This is nuts.
Is this like a mobile? Is this example like a mobile app or?
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. This is, yeah, exactly.
The code that's so, in theory, if you know how to code, you can make it better. Like you can tell it the code and.
It looks like, yeah, you can give it, you can tell it things like preserve the scope. So it's like, okay, a developer would know what the heck that means.
Right.
But
so I guess my question is like, who do you think would most benefit? I know you talked about talking with your clients, but would it greatly help someone who already writes code writes HTML for creating websites?
Right. So
do you think they'd use it?
I think right now this is very early days. I think it can. I want to see where this goes in the future because this is one of those 80% things. It works 80%, but 20% you're still going to have to do yourself. You have to have knowledge. You have to spend a lot of time prompt engineering it, but you can cover a lot of ground quickly. I think it'd be really powerful for even like marketing people who want to add screenshots to a website and they want to test out like, do people like this idea of an app before you go and build it. You can make it look real. But this is using, ChatGPT, OpenAI's GPT-4 vision. So you can upload anything to that. You can do this in ChatGPT if you want to, but you upload any image and then it will interpret that and you can tell it whatever you want. In this case, you're basically saying, take this image and convert it to code. But you can, I don't know. That's why I wanted to open up to you guys to think about, like, with this technology of taking an image and throwing it into ChatGPT, like, what would you instruct it to do? What other domains could you see using this outside of software development?
I feel like this, I've had a lot of conversations about people in ChatGPT. I feel like you fall into one of two camps, like you said. What I don't mean is the camps being AI is going to take over the world and AI is, we should embrace it. I mean, like, when we're talking about from the economic, like, jobs perspective, like being threatened by this kind of thing of, like, like, for example, Evan, you're a master with video and editing. Would you feel threatened if all of a sudden ChatGPT could just do all the things? Like, you could upload raw video,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden it's
post-production.
spat out.
I mean, it's
like,
already starting with, like, post-production and editing.
Yeah,
I know a couple of different softwares that can upload. You just upload, like, all the raw footage, say, that we're shooting right now, and you tell it has 3 different people talking. It'll decipher whose voice is what, and it'll cut the cameras
At the right
back
times.
forth. Yeah, every time someone talks. So I mean, it's already starting with post-production stuff.
do
But
you look at that as a threat, or do you look at that as, like, that is freaking sweet?
I think it's really cool. I think it's really useful. I think people in our field need to learn about this stuff and use it to their advantage, because there's still somebody who, there's still somebody who has to use that program, right? And if you know how to do it really well or know how to tweak it in the right way, as of right now, that makes you a more valuable editor.
Yes.
I don't think it's ever going to be able to take away from live stuff.
Yeah.
Like actual filming, because you need that human element. But yeah, for editing, it definitely, some people are probably pretty threatened by it. But
yeah, I feel like that's similar to what we're looking at, here, of, like, auto-generating code from, like, pictures and drawings. It's like, I feel like you could fall into two camps. As, like, one camp is, like, you're threatened by what you see, and the other one is embracing it.
Yeah.
So,
have you guys seen Runway ML yet? This might be for next week's episode, because I really want to get Evan's take on this. Have you seen Runway?
No.
Okay, so Runway ML. So you guys have seen how there's, like, Midjourney does, generative images. You can give it a prompt and then it will create any kind of image for you. Well, this is going to be for generating video, and it's leading the market right now in video generation and clips. So, like, what you're seeing behind the scenes there can be artificially generated videos, and you pay by the second for video that you're creating. Let me try to bring it up.
I can already tell this is, like, really, really useful. Like, I can already see this, if it does what it's, if it does it well, I can see our projects that I'm already working on where it's like, I just wish I had this shot.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I can get that shot now.
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you got to learn these kind of things for an editor, for sure.
Yeah.
To make your work better, not get threatened by it, I think.
Yeah. So this is next episode when we have more time. I want to dive into this with you, Evan.
Yeah, it looks really
cool.
I
want to see what you would do, and maybe we can actually create some stuff too, because you just give it prompts and then you start creating video, and we can see how close we can get. Some of the stuff ends up in the uncanny valley, which I don't love. Like, you can tell it's synthetic, and some of it's a little creepy. Yeah. So there's people making some awesome like, short videos, and they're actually submitting them to film festivals, and they're, like, 5-minute long videos that they're creating. It's all generated. And they will use synthetic voices for narration. It's pretty interesting. But the, like, one I saw was Alice in Wonderland that was generated, and you're like, okay, it being a little creepy can kind of work here, because it kind of fits with the overall vibe of it. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. I've met a lot of artists too that are threatened by Dolly and Midjourney, and And while that's a whole other episode too of talking about copyright infringement and all that. But I mean, it's I think Evans, your take on this of embracing it, I feel like is right on. I feel like that's where you should embrace it because it's heading your way. It's not going to stop.
Yeah, like you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at the start you could have been like, it's a fad.
Yes.
And who knows? Maybe it might still be, but you can only benefit to learn how to best use these kind of tools.
Yes. It elevates human creativity is what I feel like it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love the idea of using this to make like your stuff better.
Yeah.
And more creative and help you do things you weren't able to do before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it also just makes everything more accessible to more people. Like a lot of with AI right now, this generative AI, I equate it to just like digital animation, however many years ago that was created versus having, a very small group of people that could hand illustrate all these cartoons and all that. Then you do digital illustration. Now a lot more people have access to it, and it just elevates the overall quality and creates more jobs and all that. So that's why I'm generally an optimist about it. But we can dive into this in a future episode, but we're at our time. We got to go. So thanks, guys. Good chat today.
It was a lot of fun.
And then play that outro. Come on, it's got to be on the cue. It is.
There's a little keyboard guy in the background.
Can we animate that in post? Just a little keyboard guy? Ooh, maybe we use Runway to generate a
little keyboard guy on the outro. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's generate Evan. No one knows what Evan looks like.
Everyone could be like, wow, that's what Evan looks like?
Yeah, you can just have me pop up in your guys' angles.
Yeah, actually, for those that don't know Evan, he's like 6'11", 300 pounds of pure muscle.